line. Check the radio, big crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
Hey yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome back here to PTM Racing TV and now live here in Richmond, Virginia. Back one more time. Next Gen Cup Series action here. It's coming down to your business time, down to your playing field. 50 extra laps to this one, but this time BackFire Sim Racing brings us to the showcase and brings us to the track. This should be an epic thriller as we are approaching the Final Four matchup for next week's main event for BackFire Sim Racing Season Championship. But first, we gotta figure out who's going into the Final Four. With that, we begin with this. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader, Christian Trier, joining you guys here today. And our grading order now has been fully come up. And so we are here in the showcase. We're in the studio, high above. You can see my little suite up there. I'm nice and kind of cozy up there. Anyway, Tom Bourne will be the number 16 on his inside row. It's the number 1 seed. It is outside though. It's Blake Owl in the number 26. Row number 2, Carl Hamwork in the number 51. It's outside Bailey Linus in the number 78. And row number 3, Patrick McQuaid, the 77, this big 77, is outside Thaddeus Marshall in that 87. And row number 4, it is Christian Roos in the 14s outside Wes Fuller, the 35. Row number 5 is Chris Papa on the 13, is outside T.J. Roberts, the 11. Row number 6, Ricky Gonzalez on the 48 is outside Josh Billiter in the 46, running race control, as he's usually one to do. Race fans, time to get down to business. And time to get down to the showcase. Christopher Hupke saying hi, Patrick McQuaid, and good to have you back on board. Patrick McQuaid saying, Hupke, hey, buddy. Well, I guess some love down there for those two. Robert Van Ness, it's the man. Winning races is the plan. Go 77, Robert Van Ness. It's good to have you back on board, bud. Good to hear from all you at home. Good to hear from the fans. Good to hear from the drivers. Let's get down to business. The track is set. The field is ready. And the 670 horsepower beast, that is the NASCAR Next Gen Cup Series, or well, might as well just call them the Gen 7s at this point, are now in full brigade and ready for this 200 lap main event. Our field today right now being structured and being set to go. I will go over the points here as well when we get to that time, get to that moment. I can tell you right now, it is a dogfight for that final 4 spots. The final 4 right now, if you just go from the bottom 4, it literally is separated out by 0 points for the cutoff line between Fuller and Papa. Gonzalez in that hunt by a mere 1 point off. And then also, right now, by 2 points out, is Patrick McQuaid. Tom Bourne, he needs a good race here to make it in. He is 7 out of the title shot. You want to talk about wild moments, to talk about crazy times to be alive here? This is going to be one of them. Watch out for Papa, Gonzalez, Fuller, McQuaid, and Bourne in this race, because those are the ones that will be fighting for everything they got. There is one spot left. That's not to say, though, that Thaddeus Marshall, Carl Hantwerk, and Blake Owl are exactly out of the woods yet. They still need to perform and come out here and race. Off our corner number 4, the pace car brings us in. The field is set to go. Onto the green flag start. We're off and running. And we're down time here off of turn number 1. And the 51 of Carl Hantwerk, early advantage. He seems to have been liking these short tracks quite a bit. He's already showing you right now why that is. These cars are going to have to take a very optimistical approach, very cutoff line style racing. This track is not going to be for the faint of heart. We saw earlier last night where really it all boiled down to the first 10 laps on the tires before they would just start to give out on you. So you got 2 options: take it easy or full throttle assault it. Your call. Right now, Hantwerk and Tom Bourne, they want to do the latter of the two, go full throttle and make it work and try and see if that'll hold on just for enough. Bailey Jelinas, though, in the 78, good to see him trying to pull him back out here and perform as he is holding up the 78 1-3 speed camp. Tiletown Racing crowd right now also in the fight, in the mix with those 1-3 speed boys. Thaddeus Marshall in the 87 battling out with a 14 here. Christian Roos right now rocking the number I've been trying to make famous in the street stock sense. Still can't get a win, for crying out loud, but that's okay. He's been doing a pretty good job though, holding that 14's line up, trying to hold it down to the end. Just missed the playoffs where I'm at here, unfortunately, due to unfortunate some circumstances late in the season. Couldn't quite get the speed going, couldn't get the time really rocking and rolling his way. But he is still in full spirit and in full tune, as he's got his crew guys of Chris Papa, Blake Howell, all in the 1-3 speed camp, looking to make it in the final 4. Ellen Fuller coming on board. She says, good luck, Wes, and all the Tiletown guys. Good to hear from you, Miss Spellin. Gotta have the Tiletown cheerleader running around here, having a little showcase for the boys here, and of course, her son, Wes Fuller, done a pretty good job this season, making some hard charges, some great moves, and he is right now in the final 4 slot on the cutoff line. But remember, he's tied with Chris Papa. Somebody's got to give. It'll be either him or that camp of Chris Papa. Hold on just a minute, though. What has happened to player 116 Genesis number 4 Mustang of Tom Bourne? The race leader has crashed out into turn 3. And ironically enough, it was the same spot that happened last night for these drivers in the Spartan Logistics Management LLC iRacing iRock Challenge Series. And it happens here now down in turn number 3 yet again. Let's take a look at it. Not for the race lead, though that was a different story, but this was for the lead. Slight pickup there from Tom Bourne, and fortunately came down on the 51 of Carl Hantwerk. Hantwerk driving slightly too much in and end up sliding upward. Car comes to a rest up on that top end there. Unfortunately, nothing he can do about that. One more look at it. Drives in deep, and there's nowhere to go, my friends. Now, I'll be honest with you, though, even though it looked pretty rough, the good news is they got one instant repair to use, and Tom Bourne's destruction on that car wasn't too bad, although that pit stop might have been something else. He'll get it in, take 4 sets of tires. He's going to have to be careful, though, about the traffic behind him. These guys will be putting them into pit road as they go along, and the stage brakes come into play later. Alpha Lion 77 Chevrolet Camaro, Patrick McQuaid also in that breach, in that fight, and it looks like Tom Bourne doesn't have to worry about too much about the guys behind him because they're all heading in pit road as well. He's going to try to get some damage cleared up as Blake Howell is coming across the front straightaway already. Remember what I said last week? I said point blank, these guys need to be careful about how far they go in the trenches and the landscape of getting out of these races or getting out of these battles. Because what they raced on last week, in my opinion, was a much easier time at Homestead Miami Speedway. This is a whole different scenario and a whole different ball game. And, you know, Handwork has not been one of those, has definitely been one of those guys you got to keep your eye on here throughout these races, throughout these events. Certainly has kept his, kind of kept his mouth into the involvement here. Has definitely made sure that he knows how he feels about these races. We'll have to see how things kind of play out here, though. Still a lot of racing to go. Tom Bourne with some damage, though, on that left side. The car is destroyed a little bit, but as time goes on, he'll be able to clean it up just a little bit more and get it fixed out. Maybe he has a little bit left to work with, as Pace Car has brought our attention to the 1 to go signal. Well, just by showing up really in this race and his performance last week, Blake Howell has pretty much all but sealed the fates of these drivers. He has hooking the top honors with the 25.52 over the 4th place guy at 25.39. I think it's safe to say he is right now the one that will make it into the Final 4 unless something crazy happens here. I don't see that being the case here now with this many drivers we have on the show, but the green flag flies back on now. Points will definitely still matter for those final 4 trying to make it in. Second, third, and fourth at a risk here if something does not go correctly, and that is where you see the battles coming through and everyone just getting very aggressive, very strategic on how they plan tires, strategies, and fuel mileage. A lot of them went into pit road just for fuel. Most of them ended up trying to get more squared up for the later half here, not really too worried about the tires. Blake Howell, the reason why he didn't go in, he's not worried about any of that. He's got his own strategy on his mind and in his plate. And that's why he's taking it very cautious, very smartly optimistic here. Batcher McQuaid right now doing a pretty solid job kind of keeping the endurance up, trying to keep the speed on the rhythm section and on the go. Trouble down there with Chris Papa as he's into the wall protection down off of turn number 2 into the backstretch, turn 3. And the 1-3 speed driver way off pace, way off control. He's trying to refire the car. Looks like he might have got stuck in neutral, smacking that wall around. 78 Bailey Gelias right now working with teammate 26 of Blake Howell. Hal, the only other driver besides the trying to work with the only other team besides Tiletown Racing that is in the chance of a lifetime. Jolias right now, he knows what he's got on his plate though, and that is to get a race win in. Unfortunately, he will not be eligible for the Final 4 in the season championships, but a race win to him means more than anything else. That's what he's after right now. Dealing with the added pressure though right behind him though. The guys are firing hard and firing through the camps. And you can just see kind of that one line stretched in race move or move. Everyone looking for openings when they can. They're not going to get too rambunctious, not too all over the place. They want to stay more clairvoyant on their line and on their target. That's kind of how Richmond works. You go from one end, which is progressive, to then a track end that's flat banked. And once you get into that mess and get into that troublesome territory, it can be very difficult to really figure out where the car is going to go, even get you a little lopsided if you're not too careful. We saw that a lot last night. Getting up to that outside wall, outside area is going to make you a little bit loose, make you a little bit more scarcely. 3 wide salute. Oh, punched in the middle. Thaddeus Marshall going to get Tom Bourne again, though. Oh. And Tom Bourne, well, whatever damage he got cleaned up, I think that just got ruined. Thaddeus Marshall sent in 3 wide there. Had nowhere to go, but unfortunately, neither did the 14 and Christian Roos. Ricky Gonzalez making a pass on by him. Roos trying to save the car. Does a great job saving on turn 4, but my goodness. Damage sustained and taken from the car. The 3 wide salute gets the better of 2 of them. Thaddeus able to run off from it, but I don't think that was the way he planned it. My, these drivers right now just in a hot little fight off here, just trying to survive and conquer. And they're having all sorts of problems right now, just trying to stay out of each other's way, if you ask me. I don't think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're just dealing with the car. I think it's more or less they're dealing with the track. They know there's not a lot of ways to pass. There's not a lot of angles to get off from. Just try driving a super late model here. Try driving a street stock here. Believe me, it's hard enough as it is. A next-gen cup car? Yeah, it's virtually very difficult. No pun intended. Baxter McQuaid making a good little run off here, coming through turn number 2. Great pass on the 11 of TJ Roberts as the Alpha Lion goes for the top 4. We're on board here as he moves one spot up in the field. And you can hear that throttle rhythm too, the way these guys are kind of tuning, kind of punching the throttle. They're a little more, almost kind of a featherish style race move. It's just kind of staying under control, staying a little bit pressurized, not trying to do too much with it. And they have to in this case, they really do. Wes Fuller though, into the wall protection, trouble down there for the 35, a little too close for comfort. Don Bourne getting right below him, no contact was made, at least on our end. I don't know if the Glitchcraft for Gremlins might have done something there to West, but Wesley falling back behind. Not good right now for the guy that is literally in the bubble of the final 4. This will definitely help out Chris Papa here if he can get the car back out, but it looks like he's having mechanical problems down here. Mechanical failures on the 13 might have all but sealed an end to his night. And that really is kind of how his season's been. Nothing but mechanical problems, mechanical issues, and just frankly getting the shaft of every time he gets out on the racetrack and dealing with that added pressure. It's a tough break there, unfortunately, for Papa, and I guarantee you right now he's not thrilled whatsoever about it. Ricky Gonzalez right now in the 48 trying to prove a point here, making some big fights off the corners, fights off positions. Can't count out this cat, man. He'll push some limits and he'll push some cars around if he has to. He's been known to do so. He is not hesitating to keep his speed up and keep his run on the track. I think it looks like Chris Papa might have actually finally got the car back out. There is big damage on the front end of that 1.3 speed 13 machine. He can find a way though to somehow, some way get back up with these guys and then get lucky dogs in from some of those stage breaks and the cautions he knows he'll get. There might be a chance. But again, that's a big might in a big world. Like, a might is not always right. It doesn't always give you exactly what you see in your sight, and I don't think he's really feeling too confident about that. This Tom Bourne, you can hear literally and see just how hard he's driving that car around. He got a little bit loose, a little bit all over the place there, but they steered it back out to keep it clean and clear. His chances right now currently are still really, in my opinion, questionable. Got put 3 wide earlier there, unfortunately, between him and Thaddeus. And then also Christian Roos. Roos getting the shaft, of course. And Roos, unfortunately, out of that cut line. Thaddeus obviously trying to stay ahead and one step level of the game. Wesley Fuller right now trying to hopefully keep Ricky Gonzalez and Patrick McQuaid, as well as Tom Bourne, away from that final spot. But it's not easy right now. And Carl Handwerk, Bailey Gelinas right now just kind of easing around the track, kind of on cruise control. Blake Howell really doesn't need to do anything special here. His win at Homestead pretty much secured his season title hopes. And he even said as much. He said he really didn't have to do it. He just felt like it. I guess in kind of the racing world, it's, if you don't win, you don't get paid. It's definitely not a bad little thought and little process there, I will say. Sure does make the racing more interesting, I'll say. Don Bourne right now here moving up at Thaddeus Marshall. Thaddeus maybe looking to be dealt a receipt from earlier. into the inside zone. Ooh. I really thought Tom was going to send it in a little harder than that at the 87, but give credit for the restraint. Kept under control there. Those two literally looked like that could have gone either way, but Tom was the ever so quiet one. Using his resources, using his car to full advantage. And you can just tell also too, we talked about it plenty of times around the show, but these next gen cup cars, they take such a beat down, they take such a beating, and yet they can dish out as much as they're getting it and still have something left under the tank and under the hood to handle with. If you ask me, that's probably the most impressive thing about this car, is that it works as well as it looks and deals as much punishment and pain as it can, and it needs to. And it's holding up pretty well right now. Currently still battling through the ranks and battling through the march of the charge. Gonzalez now moving up, using some extra leverage there on his tires he got earlier. Got around Thaddeus, and Thaddeus trying to hold down the line, trying to hold down the field. Daly Janice right now getting caught up there by Carl Handwork on the number 51. Remember, Handwork still really winless after so many races, so many times, in so many bad areas, and getting wrecked out, being destroyed, being put into just the worst luck and the worst timing ever, and yet still here he is in the top two for the final four with a chance, as long as he doesn't do anything too crazy, to make it in that final four slot and then go back at it come next week. And if you're wondering where we are at next week for the very final race of the BackFire Sim Racing season, we're heading down to Michigan International Speedway. It'll be the final leg up, the final battle. 4 drivers go in, 1 will come out a champion. Who will it be? Well, we gotta first figure that out right here and now on PTM Racing TV. Some guys right now kind of creeping up a little bit on the field, kind of diving down a little bit, looking for some area, looking for some opening, if you will. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I haven't really seen too much kind of that wild substance, that wild circumstance that I would have thought I had seen a little bit late in this run, but it seems like the guys being a little bit more patient, being a little bit more aware of the surroundings and a little bit more aware of what's going on. I think they don't want to do anything too out of the ordinary, out of control here until they get late in the run. They have to too, because if they do get into that troublesome spot, that could be pretty much their death knell or their death wish right there when it comes to the car not being able to hang on. 40 laps in out of the 200 lap race, we're about 1/4 of the way there. Jelinus, the 78. Keeping distance, keeping traction, but you can see even with this lap time showing here, he hasn't exactly held off Handwork for a good chunk or two of this race. Handwork's been getting the better of him quite a few times, and here is the proof in the pudding. Off the optical end here, and you can see now Handwork is just getting one step closer to nailing down that 78 here. And I don't mean nailing down as like taking him out, I mean like getting right up to him and pretty much putting that bumper right up closer than I think maybe Jelinus would like. Battle of Titletown and a battle of the old 1-3 speed team. We did at one point in the season have quite a few folks that were running down here, JKR Motorsports being one of them. Unfortunately, they had pretty much kind of left the building, kind of left the area, and haven't really been seen too much here on the show. A lot of big names and heavy hitters kind of leaving out late into the series and into the show in the season. But for those that have stuck around and fought through it all, they have brought with them some impressive moments and some crazy little action-packed days and battles. Time kind of slowing off a little bit. Christian Roos, TJ Roberts, and all of them kind of back down into a corner. Chris Papa again, many laps down, and his championship hopes are starting to really dwindle and start to get a little bit more scarce, I would suspect. as you get a little bit late into this one, I think maybe he will not be able to hold off as much to really get back on the charge as quickly as they were earlier. Coming off the clutches down into the turn here, off of turn number 4, we've got ourselves a little bit of battle going on between that 26 and the 77. McQuaid, I don't think trying to make life very difficult for that 26. I think he's just trying to make life a little easier for himself. Trying to find some positions, trying to find some openings. And you can see where he's at right now. He is in that top 5 bracket. This would be for 3rd if he can get right up behind him and get right up ahead of Blake Howell. But there's one guy I said many times before on the show, you don't want to try to test, you don't want to try to push him to his limits. It's this guy, the 26 of Blake Howell in his 1.3 speed cam. You can test him all you want. At the end of the day, he'll just take you for a loop and take you for the ride of your life, and he won't give any two cares about it. Although out of turn 3 and 4, it may have been a bobble there, a little bit of a mistake to 77, and McQuaid putting that thing right on the front bumper to the rear. Making life very difficult for him here, giving him plenty of room. And Tom Bourne literally making a final comeback here as well. Or is he? Woo-hoo. Oh, how the heck is this guy even still running, much less still getting this field? He charged straight up, and the 77 drifts up a little bit. Tom Bourne was right on the crux of it. Again, Blake Howell will get away from McQuaid and away from everyone else with this position intact. But my lord, how on earth is Tom Bourne even still able to run, much less even survive out here, is beyond me. Makes a pass around the 77 this time. The Alpha line gives it up. Tom is a man on a mission right now. And he is doing everything he can. Getting around McQuaid will certainly help. I don't think McQuaid realizes that will hurt him a little bit. We're now 1/4 of the way completed in this race. And the caution flies for that stage break. Kyle Hamworth managed to get around Bailey Jelinas there late into the run. I did not have time to catch them when they were doing that little pass around, but it looked like happened a little bit later on, happened a little bit earlier in that moving on that show. Let's take a look and see here exactly when the pass came and give you guys a better example of when that went down here. It looked like it came just as they were about to get to the stage break. Let's take a look at it. So this is Hamworth's pass here around the 78 of Jelinas. Came down to the distance turn number 1. You can see that little opened area end will make it very difficult for some drivers, and it makes it even more difficult to try to defend from. And Hamworth just kind of with the presence of mind, smooth and silk. Jelinas could not hang on. And that was all she wrote there for the 51 as they bring it to the caution flag. Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on a minute. Well, if you're wondering what happened, Hamworth didn't get spun by anybody. He simply just completely mishapped his turn into the pit road end, and that's going to cost him some serious time here. Jelinas will get out first. Batch McQuaid comes out second. And Ricky Gonzalez out third. Thaddeus Marshall, then Carl Hamworth, and it'll come out 4th and 5th respectfully. So, wow. That took a 180 degree, and I don't mean a full 360 like what you just saw a minute ago with Hamworth. I made a full-on 180. Uh-oh. Ricky Gonzalez, though, he's going to have to go into pit road again. Stop and go penalty for speeding into pits. And Bailey Jelinas right now are going back to the outhouse as well, so he'll have to gonna be put into a spot there, considering he was the stage 2nd place finisher. So McQuaid. I guess I'm seeing it right. McQuaid, Marshall, Hamwork, Howell, and Gonzalez. I'm not really sure what happened to Jelinas there. Jocko go 11 to TJ Roberts now moving through the field, moving through the ranks. Wes Fuller. Gonna get put back a few notches here, but put back a few slots. Back to McQuaid though, man, I guarantee you right now he's probably happier than a kid in the candy store knowing where he's at. Thaddeus Marshall in the 87 going to be put in the second slot. Hamwork teammate behind him in third. Howell going into the fourth. Fifth, TJ Roberts said Jelinas. We're out to get your final person in row number 3. We're going to see who comes away with the field and comes away with positions here. Time is of the essence for these drivers, and they know it. Down to the front straight away they go. Cream by back on out, and the action now kicks back up here. Entering into the turn hot though. McQuaid getting back down to the bottom, trying to block off the runs here. TJ Roberts into the wall in the back stretch. Lost it in turn 2. Got loose off the corner. Thaddeus Marshall moving up to the chains here in turn number 4. He'll take the race lead away. And it's a 3-wide salute entering in turn number 1. McQuaid backs out of that one. He saw what happened earlier. Whoa! Where did Jelinas come from? He's upside down. He's on his roof and sent straight back into the shadow. And what the heck happened to the 78? Holy smokes, the 78 came in, dip dived. It looked like a drag, looked like a dirt race move. I don't know if that's a slide job or what that was, but that did not go well. We saw this happen to a few drivers last night, and it happens here, but this is the first time we've seen anybody go upside down like that. My goodness. Guy hang time got sent up and overboard she goes, but we're going to go on Brad here. We're going to hear that brake pedal being used up on Jelinas' end. 3-wide salute, and he sees an opening. He knows they're going to do something here, so he goes for the run, but he steers it in way too sharply. Remember, you have to be very smooth these corners on these cars, or it's going to make you pay for it. Well, that's exactly what happened there. Wow. Talk about a wild scenario and circumstance to be put into here. Thaddeus Marshall will retain the lead. But if you're any of the other guys right now, you're probably thinking, what the heck just happened? And what the heck do we do from there, guys? Well, Jelinas heads into pit road. I don't know if he'll take the instant repair. If you ask me, I probably would leave it alone for just a little longer. I know that car is pretty badly damaged up, but, I mean, you're looking at 2 angles here and 2 shots on the arm. This is not looking good for him. And it looks like he will just take tires and go. No instant repair used up yet. At least judging by that end of the spectrum. And I think it's smart, honestly. I think really he didn't suffer too much damage if you will compared to what he probably should have gotten. I think he should have had a collapsed roll cage yet. That thing is still a-okay. Time running out now. Chances of these drivers getting any further into the field here are getting very close to the end of the brink. They're going to have to hang on just a little bit longer if they can and hope they can keep up the pace, keep up the position. Off of corner number 4, back to the green flag start. We're back underway. Carl Hanwork wasting no time here. Up to his Titletown Racing crew is Blake Howell right in the mix of this crux. Thaddeus though way too hard into turn 3. Opens up a huge door for the 26 and the 51. Hanwork wasting absolutely no time to the bottom. You just can't make mistakes like that on a short track. You can't leave openings like that. Thaddeus knows this. Blake to the inside, taking full advantage. Meanwhile, Hanwork taking the race lead over. A battle going on between Gonzalez, Tom Bourne, Patrick McQuaid, and Christian Rose. It's a murderer's row of drivers right now trying to find openings, trying to find some leg up on these guys and find times to get around this track. Time running out in this championship hunt. And only one will be the hunter under the moonlight to take home victory set on their sights. Gonzalez right now kind of in a little bit of a slow dead spot here. Patrick McQuaid even kind of keeping him under control, keeping him very truthful and keeping him honest. If you're an honest man in the racing business, you'll know it because you don't make mistakes, you don't do anything too crazy or too wild and rambunctious. These guys are being very, very careful what they do next. McQuaid down on the bottom of the Alpha Lion makes full advantage and good work on the 48. Carl Hanwork starting to run away from the field a little bit. Yet again had the race lead locked up late in there with Jelinas kind of falling back behind. Jelinas is still in pit road right now and suffering through major damage and major catastrophe here. The 78 may feel like he may have should have took that instant repair earlier instead of when he did. Now it's costing him big time here. Tom Moore still with that instant repair in his back pocket if he wishes to use it. If I was him, I wouldn't even worry about trying to use it right now. I would worry about dealing with these guys later. You can see that big old grin and smile on his face there kind of represents the Lightning McQueen-esque image there, as you see. He has a pretty cool little helmet, I'll give him that much. Coming off the clutches here down in turn number 4. Starting to get a little bit further into the run, a little bit further on the nose. Thaddeus and Bourne. Thaddeus at still. Marshall trying to give the martial law onto the track and on the crew. Drivers holding up third. His championship hopes are in very, very deep command here. He knows he cannot give up too much or give in too many. Tom Bourne knows if he does not win this race and put everyone else behind him, he will not make it into the final 4. He has said in this spot before, he's won many times in this series and many times, but this is the first time he's really feeling like he's put in a bit of a bad spot, a bit of a bad scenario. And I can tell you just from how many times I've felt it before, it definitely can be a bit of a round-around bout. Marshall really giving everything he's got there to Tom Bourne, trying to not let him down on that inside run. Tom, though, is doing everything he can just get a leg up on him, and he's getting so floored and enamored with that chance and that opportunity, but it still just will not seize itself, or nor will it give him any open, or will he get an opening from it. Carl Hanworth starting to get further ahead here of Blake Howell as we take a look at our lap times here, and you can see Howell isn't exactly getting too, shall we say, worked up yet. You'll start seeing when he gets a little bit more worked on, the more he's worked down on that throttle and on that pedal. He's been known to kind of lay back for a minute or two and then just give it to Hanworth. Hanworth knows this is why he's timing everything strategically. He's trying to time himself. He's trying to keep an eye on how hard he runs. And also, I probably would suggest probably staying out of that wall protection if he can. Got a little kept up in that wall off of turn 2, up to turn number 4, up into the front straightaway. Gave him a little knocker there, a little bit of a headshot there. A little shift in there from Thaddeus Marshall. You hear him go in from one gear and out to the other. That little churro cha-cha. That's what it feels like when you're going in from that top gear using the sequential shifter. Obviously, the IndyCar drivers, they know how to use it quite well. Same with Rallycross and some other guys and gals out there. But in the sports world for NASCAR, this is still something that's really kind of torn some drivers up, and it's kind of torn some folks out a little bit. About my humble opinion, it is a unique little style of shifting if you're used to playing the video game logic here or used to being on the iRacing section. But for real world experience, it's a bit of a mess to figure out how to really go from one gear to the other and having to time those just right. Having 5 gears though, it definitely makes things a little bit more interesting on the road course side of things, but we've only really been able to see, what, one road course so far in real life racing? Have we been to 2? I think we've only been in Circuit of the Americas so far, haven't we? That's the only one I can think of. You guys in the comment section let me know where we've been at. I might have forgotten completely. Now TJ Roberts, just for a little scenario here, is currently a lap down here. Not much he can do about that. But still having a little bit of a go at it with Ricky Gonzalez. And Gonzalez, this season, well, let's just say he's had his fair share of bad moments and good moments, but I don't think there's anyone that's going to criticize him in his way of logic. I think really it's just been boiling down to, can he keep the nerves at bay? Can he keep himself under control for the long stretch? Back on board here, Tom Bourne yet again here. As you can see, he's going to try and do what the 87 has on his back bumper and go just send it. Well, he sent it to a just send move. Got him in the inside corner, turn number 2. Chris Papa, problems down there. His season is over with. He's going to have to call it a night. What a tough break for that 13 camp, and really just the overall bad luck he's dealt with. He has dealt such a bad hand all season round. Tom Bourne, though, trying not to be another mishap of that. He's trying to hang on. Got one. Oh, he wants a daily double, though. He goes for 2. Crossover slide job from turn 3 into 4. Daily double. Double trouble. The 16th ikes over 2 spots. And with a stage caution coming out here soon enough, I guarantee you, he had no qualms about making that move or making that runoff point where he knew he had to. Talk about flooring it off the edge and off the cups there. Really knew when to time his shot and hit his mark just right. And that's kind of what he's been doing all night long. And he needs to keep doing that just a little bit more if he wants to be in that top bracket, that top half. Wes Fuller right now trying to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more controlled. I guarantee you he's waiting a little bit though. I probably wanted at home. What do I mean exactly by him being a little more under control, a little bit more relaxed, if you will? Well, we need to look at something right now. Currently, the way Wes is, he is on that cutoff line. He is literally just ahead of Chris Papa. The only guy he's got to deal with right now is Ricky Gonzalez. And Gonzalez, at that point, he's only 1 spot up of him. So if it went to the final leg of the race, Wes Fuller, I believe, would make it in. And Gonzalez would be out. But that also then brings in Tom Bourne's aspect, which is if he can get ahead of these guys and get ahead far enough, and Wes Fuller falls back too far, that will cost him, and that will not only cost him big time, it'll cost him a championship. Handwork right now is the only driver that is currently, besides Blake Howell, that is in a good enough spot to where he doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't have to worry about any of that kind of craziness, that kind of hectic feedback that these drivers are going to give throughout this race and throughout this night. But when desperate times come in, it's time for desperate measures, and they're watching it very, very carefully. Upcut rooting on for Christian Roos today here, as Roos right now is trying to hang on to that 8th slot, but you can see how far he is back of the field. He is not getting the speed. He's not getting the run as much as I think he was hoping for. Although I don't know, he could be playing possum out there. It's hard to tell, but being 0.3 of a second off of Wes Fuller right now, you can definitely say he is holding out. McQuaid sending Thaddeus on the outside. Thaddeus having troubles all day long getting any kind of run on the outside, and once again it's going to strike down on him again. McQuaid being very strategic, very smart here. He knows Thaddeus is not good on the outside line. He's making him work down there a little bit and trying to push his luck. Our Sky Camp shows all and tells all. Ricky Gonzalez right in the mix of it again. Remember, Ricky is out of the championship hopes. Or excuse me, no, actually he is still in the championship hopes, but he is out right now on points wise. He's gonna have to make a big deal of success and moves here later in the race if he's wanting any chance of taking it home. The only added pressure incentive though is you're dealing with some guys that are literally here just to make things a living dark corner in your mind. And Thaddeus knows out too well. Oh my, holds it, hold it. Oh, can he save it? He's gonna save it just barely. Gonzalez clipping him in turn 1 though, but backs off. Wow, impressive save by Thaddeus Marshall there, but that could have been disastrous for him and the crew. Gonzalez knows that he can't quite get too crazy like that anymore. He's got to be careful about that. TJ Roberts now moving back into position, moving and looking to take over the spot as we're about halfway done with this race. We've seen bumps, we've seen spins, we've seen thrills, we've seen chills, and we've seen quite a few spills mixed in between. McQuaid is getting one little spot right on the nose of the 26 of Blake Howell, looking to take over the run here, take his position away. Howell trying to hold on, trying to keep his car underneath him, trying to keep his collar from getting a little too tight down there. Tom Bourne, I guarantee you, as long as he does not make a mistake in pit road later, he'll be the man to watch out for in that final leg up. I say that with all due respect to Blake Howell and Patrick McQuaid, because McQuaid and them have been pretty much at odds with one another, although McQuaid may have thinking otherwise here. He got it really close to that back bumper there out of turn number 2. You may have seen just that little speck on your map there, just literally coming right up in between. He had to make a move for Howell, otherwise it was going to be too little too late. Caution is out, stage brake engaged. So it looks like it'll be a 50 lap incremental here for stage 1 and 2. If you go to 150, then that'll be another stage 3 finale, which then brings us to the final leg of the race. We are now halfway done with this one, and my friends, what a day it has been. Top 5 on your screen right now. You'll watch on here. Handwork, Tom Bourne, Blake Howell, Patrick McQuaid, Ricky Gonzalez, all heading in. Thaddeus, Bruce, and looks like Fuller will engage. Roberts and Papa are going to stay out. They're going to try to get their lap back. Papa desperately needs to get more than just a couple laps back. He's got to literally get over 27 laps back. It's going to be very tall orders central for him and his crew. Tom Bourne's in there right now, currently dealing with the added vent of being up in the front half of the pit road. Carl Handwork just 2 spots behind him. If Bourne can get out before Handwork, though, this might be a golden opportunity. Handwork gets out. Like Howell comes second around. TJ Roberts actually will take the lead away from these boys. Tom Bourne will fall back into the 4th slot here, so he'll have some pressure dealing around with Howell and Handwork. TJ Roberts going to park it down in pit road here, get cleaned up and get fixed up a little bit. Knows what the plan is and knows how he's going to have to engage it. As our flagman here holds up the yellow flag here to keep drivers under calm, cool, and collective, if you will. Looks like Tom Bourne going to have to go back on the pit road for a minute here, get something justified up. Car looked like it was cleaned up and all good to go, so I don't see what is the matter with his car in this case, but that's going to cost him even more time here. He cannot have any more of this. Into the corners here of turn number 4. They'll bring him back around here. One more time by here. Time to initiate. Green flag starts. Green flag back on out. And we're getting the better of Howell and McQuaid here. And Christian Bruce now even back in the fray here a little bit. Top 5 battling hard for position. Jockeying for the runs though. TJ Roberts back on the lead lap once again as a Jocko Go 11. Looking to put some Mango Mayhem on the boys and put some pressure on the top half of this field. Oh, that's not going to do him any good though. Slams it off of turn 2 into the wall yet again. We'll park it in pit road, and I think that might be the end of TJ tonight. What a tough break there for that cat. He did not really want to go that route. Didn't want to go through all that of punishment and abuse, but it happens. And wait a minute, something gone wrong down there for Blake Howell, the 26th. He's going to fall right back in the mix of the pack. Now, granted, he's okay still. He'll still be in the top 4, but that 26 definitely not wanting to be put in this slot. What has happened to the number 26 of Blake Howell? TJ has called this a day. He says the car is too damaged up. But this will make things a lot easier for the other drivers right now trying to take the top slots and top honors. Well, once again, we see a driver driving it way too hard in turn number 1, costing some openings. Thankfully, Howell was able to stay out of the wall protection, avoiding trouble and chaos in the mix of the crux of the race, but definitely not what he was hoping for, though. Christian Roos, the 1-3 speed camp driver right now, is now fighting hard, battling back at some of these guys. Thaddeus Marshall trying to all but secure his spot in his title run. If we were to end this race out with what we had in store right now, it would only be 1-3 speed and 3 LTN racing drivers in the championship 4. Just kind of boggle your mind around that one. 2 teams really that have had all the makings of a tough Top Gun top performer, and now with one of them being kind of put on the crux on the outside looking in, Wesley Fuller needs to start making some moves here. Ricky Gonzalez on the outside line, opening up the door for the 35. Fuller to the inside. Gonzalez needs to be careful here. He's giving up a lot of room, a lot of time in this case. Wesley looking to try and bump the 48 down another notch. This is going to cost Gonzalez precious moment in time here. With that move there, Wesley now punching his ticket back in. He'll still be in the top 4. He'll be on the cutoff line still, but again, doesn't matter. If you're in it, you're in it. That's all that matters to him, and he knows that very, very well. Look at the eyes, the determination of that 77 right now. McQuaid so dead red on and focused with the track and on with the car here. Trying to keep his cool, trying to keep himself pressurized as this race kind of goes further into the distance, into the run. Carl Handwork, well, was there any really surprise what he was going to be up to? He's already pretty much a good chunk away from the field here and onto the nose of the drivers here. Currently about a second and a half ahead of Patrick McQuaid. McQuaid needs desperately to get some points and get some leverage. He is right now 2 spots out of Fuller. He's 2 points out of Fuller, and Tom Bourne knows if he doesn't win this, he's all but done. And he's got now ahead of the 77. Can he get to handwork though? Handwork's going to be very tricky to figure out. Especially considering how much tires he's burning up here. Remember I said earlier, these cars only got about 10 laps of tire speed you can get before they just start to become nearly undrivable if you go full throttle assault with them. This is not looking good if you're the handwork camp, but at the same time, he knows what Tom Bourne's doing and he can work it, he can use that against him. I think that's really his objective. That's kind of what his goal is. Christian Roos bombs down turn number 1, opens the door up here for Blake Allen. Wes Fuller here. Wesley now starting to get some ground finally, and maybe making a little bit of a resurgence. He has to if he wants any chance. He's come so far. He's come so close. West trying to hang on. Remember the battles of Martinsville between him and his crew, Carl Handwork, Tom Bourne, and all them. Man, it's hard to believe just that race alone. Some of these other battles here that we've seen on PTM TV, these guys were able to go out as hard as they did and as cleanly as they did, and yet still they find themselves in today's race, and they find themselves in such a high stakes, high battle voltage momentum. Wesley driving back up high side yet again, giving us some opening up on the number 26. Howell looking to succumb, looking to succeed. West diving in deep off of turn number 4, trying to get more timing, more extra leverage. He still cannot get it. It won't go. Howell doing his usual, staying back low and then fighting back quickly here. You can see though as they come off turn number 4 here, just a separation between. That's about a 5-car length difference between Handwork and Tom Bourne. About a 3-car length difference here between Bourne and McQuaid. That's about a second by of Tom Bourne. Handwork though needs to start pacing and dictating the momentum. If he can control the narrative and control the speeds, he will no longer have to worry about what lays ahead of him. He can only focus on one thing, and that is that big battle at Michigan International Speedway next week. Blake Howell kind of put himself in that same mindset, I presume, the way he's driving. I've not really seen him try to do anything too desperate, anything too crazy. He's been more kind of what I like to call under control, the over-under driver. He's not overly excessive, but he's not underselling anything. He's just keeping it smooth, silk, and easy as can be. That's exactly what he needs to do here. Well, I guess it's about that time anyway. The drivers getting all squared up and they're all relaxed. I say we just kind of let them do the talking. Let's crank it up a little bit here on PTM Racing TV. Time to hit up the start. Hard charge and the loud pedal. Crank it up with us here and now. A mere 68 laps separating out the top spots and top honors for any of these guys to come away with a W or come away with a victory. Kyle Handwerk about a full 2 seconds ahead of Tom Bourne, and that's really just based off the momentum and speed he's carried. You may have heard something though when we were going in to crank it up. A lot of guys were starting to clutch. They're starting to get on the gas, get off the gas, and get the clutch in. Now you're probably wondering at home, why are they using the clutch pedal when they should be back on the gas pedal? Well, let me explain that with this pretty simple and obvious answer. If you don't have any fuel, the car doesn't run very much longer. So how do you get around it? Very simple. Don't put gas into the engine line. When you shut off that fuel line, that valve, what it does is it actually gives the car time to really breathe and speak out the field and give it some time to really work off later. It's a very unique strategy. I've seen it used multiple times, multiple fronts. Sometimes it works perfectly, and sometimes it's literally one lap that separates out championships versus failure. I've seen it done even on race. I've seen it done also plenty of times here where it was almost down to the wire, down to the detriment for one driver, i.e. with Dale Earnhardt Jr. back at Charlotte Motor Speedway when he was under that when that loss streak. Found himself in such a crazy little spot and little shout and little air angle there. Pace starting to flatten out a little bit right now. Now it's just turning into the waiting game, as we like to call it. It's where drivers just kind of look for openings when they can. They be very, very patient though, and not have to get too crazy or late in this run. This is really that kind of that timing spot, that little timing sheet I've always said before, which is timing fuel in, timing pit strategies, keeping a close eye on the rest of this race. We'll take a look at when everyone went into pit road and how long their stints were on the pit stop box in just a brief minute. I don't have hard concrete numbers on how long the fuel line can work or how long your tires can last out, other than the first 10 really being your hardest charge, your hardest momentum boost. The rest then turns into a tank, if you will. And no, I don't mean like a Grand Theft Auto tank or a GTA tank as we know it as, or even a Fortnite tank they got going on right now. I'm talking like a tank that is about as unmovable as literally trying to drive 15,000 pounds of heavy equipment and machinery. Don Bourne in pit road, probably Kyle West Fuller, they have all entered in as well, so now that gives you guys a rough idea of where they're heading in and where they're thinking right now. Let's take a look at our pit stop length. And as you can see here, it looks like high regards on lap 50 is how many they can get. But judging the fact that those boys went in that time, I would presume they have some kind of strategy out for him and kind of up on the upper limits. Although I'm not totally for sure. Pitting in that late, that early I should say, is going to be the long game or the long run. I think really they're trying to think about doing 2 more pit stops, which is 1 for now and then the rest for later. Don Bourne though definitely got a fresher set of tires than everybody. He's going to be moving some people around in the field. Shuffling through with Thaddeus Marshall, Carl Handwerk, and Patrick McQuaid are separated out. McQuaid actually falling off pace. He is now having to go into pit road now. So his pit stop coming in probably not at the same time he was wanting to be. Last time these guys went to pit road was at 104. The brake rotor's getting hot under Carl Handwork's car there. He'll have to end up going into pit road now. Thaddeus Marshall stays on now. Same with Christian Bruce, Christian Gonzalez. Both drivers going 102, 103, and 104 respectfully in their lap times before they went into pit road. And with a 55 lap stint left, I kind of think they're really going to be aiming towards that 50 lap ordeal. I think they were looking for, I think that's why Gonzalez was so hard on the clutch and on the brake pedal, is because he was trying to clutch out the much speed, the most momentum he can get late in the run. It's a very unique little circumstance and timing boost here, but again, is that going to work out? I don't know. Roos right now definitely, I think, is kind of in his spot. He's in what he wants to do. He's going to try and outsmart these guys. Thaddeus Marshall's trying to hold on to the bottom line, trying to hold down these guys' charge. He knows he is hungry. Yes, drivers are going for broke. They're going for everything they got. They have to. If Thaddeus is able to find a way to come out on top, though, and win this race, oh my, he certainly would be a one happy camper, knowing not only has he locked in a race in the Final Four next week, but he's also got a win in a track that most drivers would not have probably given him credit for. Blake Howell now trying to maneuver through traffic here. He'll get his opportunity around Gonzalez. Gonzalez opened the door. He's a lap down, looking to try to change that. Now has to make the big move on the 14. Roos driving up a little high side here. Patrick McQuaid follows from behind with a 26. Every driver for themselves. They've got to start getting positioned over. They're in a hot dogfight for the race. But at the same time, they're hurrying the chances of Roos and them getting into Thaddeus here. Chris Papa now moving down low of Roos and Gonzalez looking to take it away. Now again, Roos is not in that hunt for the final spots, but Gonzalez is. He needs to stay very vigilant, very focused. He's got a chance here. Drives in. Oh, Nellis again. Now on the 14, and Christian Roos backs off in the nick of time, gets himself away from getting those Nickum bottoms kind of wrecked out. Almost nicked him up a little bit. He thankfully did not do that. Blake Howell and them are on the lead lap. Chris Papa, well, like I said earlier, he really needed some help here. Unfortunately, this race was not to be. Carl Haywork actually now is actually caught back up into the field. And remember, Thaddeus Marshall, Christian Roos, Ricky Gonzalez, they both have not gone into pit road yet. And Hammer's only about 8 seconds back of them, so once they hit the pit road, they are surely going to be passed up as quick as they had a chance at it. Down on the ledges here, Wes Fuller gets his lap back. Roos, Marshall, Gonzalez. Either driver trying to give up here. They don't want to give in, they don't want to give out. They've dealt their two stages. This third stage with the final 100 laps is definitely going to make the best out of any driver. It's going to make the best out of any man that wants to be the top dog of them all. It is still anybody's race for the race lead. Roos and Marshall looking incoherently, just consistently mashing the gas pedal, mashing the throttle. Upka, you were rooting on your boy Roos earlier. Well, he's doing a pretty good job right now about it. Maybe using Thaddeus as actually kind of a little bit of a barrier to actually have to stay a little bit more off throttle, and so he can stay a little more in control. Ricky Gonzalez, though, definitely having the opposite mindset here. He only wants one thing, and that is to get the top amount of points, the most amount that he can possibly endure. Looking to the bottom now. Driver's hard on the charge here. Christian Roos finds an opening around Thaddeus. Thaddeus giving him a chance. Roos trying to get that first win knocked off his back. The Smoke Pit 14 machine is looking to seal a deal and take this one home. Thaddeus put back one spot. Gonzalez behind. What a great overshoot by the 14 entering turn number 1. Gonzalez now looking to try to overshoot the 87 now, entering into the front stretch. Carl Hamwork right now, the driver right now that went into pit road with all the other guys here, currently just dealing with the added pressure and the added benefit of being up there with the crews, trying to get up there to Gonzalez, Roos, and Bourne. Now remember though, Roos, Bourne, and Gonzalez have not been, well, excuse me, Bourne went into pit road at lap 140. Roos and Gonzalez have been running their laps here on this thing consistently, and they have not gone in yet. I think they really just were trying to see who can outlast the other longer. Tom Bourne taking over the spot though, getting a full 2 seconds from fresh tires and fresh gas. And Bourne right now, looking at laps, he has enough from 60 laps in to take this one home. But will this be enough to get him into the championship? Roos and Gonzalez in a hot fight, in a big battle here. Neither one giving an inch, giving out to the other. Gonzalez almost looking constantly like he might have a little bit more workarounds to do. Because with Tom Bourne taking that race lead over, he made things extremely difficult for everybody else in the back to not get a little bit worried, a little bit scared here. Thaddeus going a lap down. This could cost him big time. Remember, he is nearly on the bubble. He is only 3 spots ahead of the bubble spot between him and Wes Fuller, and Chris Papa already out of this, so that means Gonzalez, if he can find a way to do it, he's only 4 out of taking down Thaddeus. He has a chance, but same 5 spots for McQuaid. Tom Bourne, no matter what though, he's going to, if he wins this race, he will get in. For Fuller and McQuaid, I would say right now McQuaid maybe kind of the undercard, maybe the underdog here. He needs to get into the top 3, and then he needs everyone else to have a little bit of problems down there again with Roos and Gonzalez. If they don't go into pit road soon enough, they are running a very, very big risk here. That fuel line is not enough. There's not enough fuel under that hood to do what they're doing. And yet here they are still trying to think about what they can come out with it. Oh, turn 2, trouble! Carver, trouble, big time, major trouble! If anyone trying to save it, he can't save it, spinning around! Oh no! Oh my goodness. This just completely flipped this race upside down. Just say it nicely. Oh my lord. Look at this. Handwork knew he was on the verge, on the chance. He just needed to stay focused, but you saw him get on the apron. The car was shaking up to be getting loose. Stays in the throttle trying to save it, stay ahead of McQuaid, gets into the wall. Then gets wrapped back around, tires completely spin, he has nowhere to go. And now this completely just flipped this race upside down, to say the least. Oh my goodness. Well, if you haven't been to pit road already, now's a good time. You can see he was trying to save it. But how difficult that snap lock steering is, man, that thing will send you around and it gives you so many fits, so much trouble. And this may have just dictated the chance of a lifetime for everybody now. Handwork will get the race lead, but he'll have to deal with Howell, Bourne. Howell just barely getting ahead of Tom Bourne there. I don't know that will count again. I don't know that will count as a pass before he got out. Looks like it doesn't matter here. Howell's going to go into pit road. So Tom Bourne and Carl Hammer going into pit road as well. So Tom Bourne, Ricky Gonzalez taking full advantage of this. Ricky Gonzalez really may have just gotten the break of his life now. Patrick McQuaid knows now there is a chance. Tom Bourne must win this race. Those top three are in an extremely unique situation. Wow, holy smokes, folks. This has been completely turned on its head, turned on its roof, and now you don't even know what's going to happen. So here we go. 28 laps remaining on the restart. Tom Bourne, Ricky Gonzalez, Wes Fuller, Patrick McQuaid. They are all looking for the final spots. Carl Hamwork, Blake Howell, sitting pretty comfortably right now, and a chance of a lifetime. Hamwork, though, knows he has just been put into a very tight ordeal with that little hiccup down at turn number 2. He's going to let drivers by him here. He's going to have to, looks like he's going to have some problems here. He's going to have to go into pit road to serve a penalty for earlier on as they go green. Green is out. Hamwork is in deep trouble if he doesn't get that thing out of pit road soon, though. That could have just flipped his race entirely upside down. We don't know. We are not sure if that did cost him his championship hopes in the Final Four. That was certainly not the way he wanted to go out, but it is a very big possibility. It is a chance. Tom Bourne needs to win, and Gonzalez McQuaid just need to finish where they're at. He'll get it out of pit road. He's going to put a lap down, though. Thaddeus Marshall a lap down as well here, battling hard with that 26 of Blake Howell. Both guys clear on the nose, clear on the heads. Both are in a hot dog fight for supremacy. It's hard to really say anymore who is in and who is out, honestly. I think at this point we'll just have to go to the driver's end and see what they think, what they know for sure later. I don't think I'll be able to give you guys a Final Four definition, but I will talk with the top 3 after this race, so be sure to stay tuned for that. It's 25 laps left to go. Gonzalez trying to hang on, and you saw he got loose, he got tight. This car is all over the place now. Trouble down off of turn 2 in the back straightaway. They go 3 wide, saloon in there. Looks like Blake Howell shot the gap this time. It works perfectly for him. Wes Fuller on the outside trying to hang on to his championship hopes, lay in the balance. He needs to stay with Al. He needs to stay ahead of McQuaid and stay ahead of Thaddeus. This is his golden opportunity. He needs to seize the moment, seize the chance. 24 left to go. This is getting surreal, to say the least, for all drivers. Wes on the cutoff line, as I've mentioned here before already, knowingly has got to stay focused. His teammate behind him, Thaddeus, though, he knows if he doesn't make a pass around him, his championship hope is over with. This race is done. Thaddeus is not far enough in the points race to secure positions from the positions he's in now. Matter of fact, he may lose out to McQuaid, and with Gonzalez even where he's at, maybe that too. That is kind of the way I'm perceiving it here. Carl Hanworth going a lap down, knows he needs to start making some moves, making some runs off late in the run or late in the distance, because that cost him big time. With that little spin around he had. The frustrations have boiled over plenty of times with him before. He's been absolutely hitting his head on anything that involves the madness and the chaos of the racing industry. Down to the ends here, down to the positions, drivers getting farther ahead. Carl Hanworth getting around his teammate Thaddeus Marshall. He knows there is so much at stake and so much on the line. Patrick McQuaid now dealing with some pressure though. McQuaid with Howell on the inside. Howell knows he doesn't need to win this race, but he sure would love to make things interesting. He may play a little bit of that spoiler card on these guys. Tom Bourne is literally flying away. He is airborne on the track, and he is airborne on the field. Oh! Blake Howell gets the 77 wrecked out of turn 1. Oh, are you... Oh, my goodness. And McQuaid's season may have gone up in a flame of smoke. Car looks like it's okay, but how much did it suffer, I wonder? Let's take a look. Blake Howell is going for... I was thinking he went for the run. Carl Hanworth, ooh, took a huge hit there, to say the least. I can't tell if Howell literally just drove it too hard in or what happened. Or if that may have been slightly intentional. I don't think it would have been intentional. I'll have to listen to his throttle rhythm there, but you can tell either way, it was a hard hit one way or another. Howell definitely doing more damage to himself, though, than McQuaid. And honestly, I'm kind of not surprised here. Let's take a look, though, one more time. And this is the onboard camera of Blake Howell. I'll let you guys be the judge. Well, Thaddeus Marshall once again just got a gift, and he's going to have a chance here. West Fuller goes into pit road. These guys are going to go for the latest pit stop they can. They want all 4 tires. Tom Bourne going to be put in a very unique spot. Ricky Gonzalez, much of the same. Absolutely surreal moments here on PTM Racing TV and surreal circumstances here. field has now set the pace, and the dictation and the added pressure lays in wait. Handwork will be on the lead lap. That should secure him some help and some chances. Make sure he doesn't have to worry about his chances of being in the title bracket being gone. What lays ahead? What are we about to witness here at Richmond? Chaos and pandemonium, and I think I said it even last week. Richmond was not a track you wanted to test your luck on, and I said it point blank. You wanted to put as many laps you could at Homestead at and try to make the best of your deal, because you don't know what lays in wait here. Well, now these drivers know, and they found it out the hard way. Green flag is out. Hal already diving in, diving, shiving, trying to drive it hard and find some sky to get it up to the front. 11 to go. We'll go 10 laps remaining. Wes Fuller and Chris Rose in a hot dog fight here. Patrick McQuay back into the second slot. Man, Wes Fuller, a problem off turn 4. Way too tight. Blake Howell put into a bad spot here. He's 3 wide. Handwork slipped around. Handwork has to get it back on the throttle quickly. They're trying to make a move off it if he can get it going. Howell is diving in deep and looking for anything that moves. Tom Bourne is ahead of the field and ahead of the track. I think Howell's a little worried about his spot right now. I think that's what he's really driving so hard for. I may have gotten confused. I thought, honestly, he was locked in. Wesley Fuller right now in a deep fight off. Thaddeus. Oh, no. Oh, no. Wesley Fuller up at turn number 4 loses it. And the 35 season could have just came out and flew off the radar. Oh, my goodness. What on earth has been going on with this track and these drivers, my friends? This is pure hard racing from Howell, but Wesley overshoots the tires and the car couldn't stay afloat. Thaddeus getting extremely fortunate he didn't get clipped there. Chris Papa getting away from him too. But my gosh, folks, Wes Fuller right now has got to be livid under that helmet and has got to be furious behind that wheel. Handwork, Gonzalez, Fuller are in pit road. Maybe not the best time to be put into a spot like that. Maybe not the best time to be put into this ordeal, but really this is kind of what it's all boiling down to. Thaddeus Marshall is in the top 5 now, has a chance to strike it big. And whatever really happens left on these final restarts is going to be on their hands. The pace has stricken and the field has come to this moment. Who is going to be the final 4 entering into Michigan next week? We'll find out in maybe about 3 laps. Either way, this has been probably one of the most chaotic Final 4 battles I have ever witnessed here on PTM Racing TV. I've seen some crazy stuff before. I've seen some crazier moments happen throughout these events and throughout these series. But I don't think I've seen a scenario like this pop up as crazy as this one has. we are going to be set at a green-white checkered attempt. This is going to be interesting. If you don't know what a green-white checkered attempt means, it's when you go green for one lap, the next lap it's a white flag, the final lap comes up, that means one more flag to go, and that's checkers. Tom Bourne is literally in the shot of his life, but he knows Patrick McQuaid has won here before. He wants to get another victory. He wants to be in the top spot, the top honors. Either way, it's going to be a size risk versus reward moment for every single one of these guys in this predicament. But which one is it going to be? Off of turn number 4 this time on by. Tom Bourne sets the stage, sets the tone. The field rocks and rolls. Green is out. Thaddeus Marshall desperately pushing Christian Roos right into the fray. Patrick McQuaid can't do anything about him. Trying to hold down. One more time by. Will they get to the white flag? They'll send it off down into turn number 4 with the white flags high in the air. If they can get across the line, they will. It's now anybody's race. Thaddeus goes for it all. 3 wide into turn number 1. Thaddeus goes for broke. Roos backs off. Marshall giving it plenty of opening. McQuaid hangs on. Howell and Harework wreck it on the back straightaway. They wrecked it on the back straightaway. To the finish line, though. It's going to be Tom Bourne winning it all and maybe punching his ticket to the Final Four. Ricky Gonzalez comes away 5th out of the end of it. And McQuaid, Marshall will finish top 3 with this man, Tom Airborne, and player 116 will bring it to victory lane and maybe, just maybe, put the nail in the coffin and gets his long-awaited top 4 appearance. The New Yorker is certainly got some thinking and some work to do. This was a crazy end to what is considerably a wild night of racing. Race results now popping up on your screen. Tom Bourne with a minute and a half of this one. He had finalized this out. Patrick McQuaid, I believe, is pretty much on the cuts of being in that Final Four. He was 2 out. The only guys he needed to be was Wesley Fuller or Thaddeus Marshall. Looking at the scoreboard right now, he did not get enough around Marshall, but Wes Fuller, I think it might be enough. I am not saying for sure, but I think it might be enough. Thaddeus is in. He is locked. He is a top 4. Roos goes 4th. 5th goes to Gonzalez. 6th to Fuller. 7th to Handwork. And Howell goes 8th out of a wild circumstance there. 9th to, unfortunately, a heartbroken 1-3 speed driver in Chris Papa and TJ Roberts. Getting kind of thrown to the wall here, unfortunately, to round out your field. Unreal racing, to say the least here, race fans. And now the time has come. The time is here at last. We are now to present to you our final drivers. This is the final time we hear from the 4. They go for broke next week. Here is the top 3. He joins me now here. 3rd place going to Thaddeus Marshall here. And Thaddeus, boy howdy, my friend. You had so much on the line, so much at stake. And yet here you are talking with me now. I believe, if I've counted the numbers right, you have locked in the Final Four, sir.
Yeah, came to that final lap, and I knew I had to do something, so I made it 3 wide and 1, and I'm glad it stuck. And then, I moved Christian up the track going into 4 to try to lock that final spot in.
Yeah, we did say that, right? As you're going around, you already make a big move to, win out and secure. Obviously, these races do not come often, and they don't come easily. But with that said, I mean, you've got pretty much the eyes on you and this crew. How difficult do you think this is going to be come Michigan next week?
I think it's going to be extremely difficult. Carl's fast, Blake's fast, and I don't know who else is in there, but, just got to be on my A game this next week and hope for the best.
Certainly will indeed. But nevertheless, though, here at Richmond, you strive, conquer, and survive just long enough. Who do you want to thank you for this one, sir?
I'd like to thank Titletown Racing and Titletown Designs for Fit Up Motorsports and SG71 Photography, and you for broadcasting the race.
Absolutely. Well, Thaddeus, congratulations on this third place finisher, sir, and we will catch you guys next time out on the show.
All right, thank you.
Thaddeus Marshall, ladies and gentlemen, secures the top 4. Patrick McQuaid now joins me in, ladies and gentlemen, now here in the second place spot. Patrick, congratulations here. I'm still a little bit unnerved on the points list. I don't want to say anything specifically there, but looking at the points and everything, it was a close battle, close ordeal here. You were out of the cut by, I believe it was only about 2 points. And this race, I think, would meant a lot to you to make big and make it do, and you certainly did there, holding on to that second spot.
Yeah, that was really exciting at the end there, huh? I messed up every single corner once that green flag dropped. But yeah, I think what I got fifth or fourth the first stage and vice versa the second stage. And I don't know who really was around there. So I don't know if I got more points than them or not. But yeah, I mean, I had fun tonight. Richmond's definitely not one of my greatest tracks, so the fact that I got second is a big improvement.
It's definitely a big improvement, a very big obligation and strategize there with now the way things are going out, the way this has been pretty much for you and your crew. I have a feeling that you're dead focused on trying to, if you do make it into that final race there next week, really just kind of finding the tone to go from short track to the big long tracks here. I mean, but for now, really, what's it like here? Just kind of knowing this season you have given it everything you got, pushed yourself to the limits, and really went up against some top level drivers all this round.
Yeah, for sure. Because you got Bourne, Hamwork, Fuller, all these guys. Just like I said before, you gotta bring your A game. But yeah, going to Michigan, Michigan's always been it's treated me well. So I feel pretty confident going next week, rather if I made it into the final race or not.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, what a time it has been. What a race for you and the crew. And nevertheless, here, a second place finish at Richmond with the chance of a lifetime coming up. Who do you want to thank you for this one, sir?
Yeah, Alpha Line, Muffler Man, CBDMD, Clips Photography, and Blues Race Designs. They've designed multiple cars for me, and they've always treated me right. Every single one of my sponsors and everything, and of course you putting on the great broadcast that you do.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, here, Patrick, we appreciate your time here, sir. Congratulations, a well-deserved second place finish. And I know our boy down here, Robert Van Ness, has been watching you very closely from out the start of the season, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick McQuaid comes away second. Only to this man tonight, Tom Bourne is going to be the man of the hour, the man with the power. And Tom, I think really we can say locked and loaded for Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we pointed our way in. We had a little bit of a deficit coming in here, but had to do everything we had. We did everything we needed to do. Now we just kind of wait and see at this point.
Yeah, indeed. And obviously, really, that deficit may have been one thing, but the one thing that was not totally for sure was how well can you hang on for the long run and hang on for the full-on gun of positions. Well, you certainly did prove it, though, with hanging on for this last bit. It seemed like, though, when you guys were getting late into the run, it looked like the car was starting to fade off a little bit more than the other guys were when they were ahead of you. But when you got ahead of them, it was pretty much just smooth sailing from there and let the car do its own thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know a lot of guys pit when I pitted on that in the final stage under green, and a lot of them ended up taking no tires when I took 4. There was a decent amount of fall off, and they took gas only. But week in and week out, we try and make the best calls possible. And unfortunately, when you run 40 laps, you're going to need tires no matter what. But this team constantly ceases to amaze me. You know, we did the same thing last year. Came out, we were outside the cut line looking in, ended up winning the final race, getting in the final four, and winning the championship. And you know, hopefully we can do the same thing again.
Certainly hope to see if maybe you can put on a show and put on a final last minute battle for it all. But nevertheless, though, there is still time to figure this all out, and you go through it with this processing through your mind. Though, with this first place win, is there anybody you want to thank for all this, sir?
Yeah, just you know, want to thank the team putting together another great car. I think this is win 4 on the season in the last half, and you know, I think I tied Blake on that. So you know, we'll break that tiebreaker next week, Blake. But you know, eh, G Fuel, Player One Coffee, Sky Motorsports, like I said, putting together a great car. You doing the broadcast week in and week out. Always a great time listening on the replays and the people watching. Um, you know, uh, the whole 1-3 speed team. You know, they've kind of been, you know, pushing me a little that extra because, you know, Blake came out and said it. He wants to race me for the championship. So, you know, I'm not trying to sound cocky here, but it wouldn't be a final four without the defending series champion. So hopefully, like I said, we got the stuff done, and you know, Kira, she's watching like always, and you know, I couldn't be happier to have a more supportive friend like her. And yeah, just Josh for having me week in and week out. And, hopefully, we can go back to back.
Absolutely. Well, nevertheless, the chance of going back to back certainly on the mind, but today you at least can say you have the second to final race of the win all wrapped up. Congratulations, Tom.
Thanks, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Bourne will finalize the final race before the big one next week. From all of us here at PTM Racing TV, though, we will get in touch with you guys on Twitter. We'll let you know who our final four will be when we are aware of it. But for now, thank you all so much for coming on board. We appreciate your love and support. We'll see you guys next time when the green flag flies.